Günter Faltin's working day begins early. At 7 a.m. he meets with the manager of Teekampagne, one of Darjeeling's big tea gardens.
Yes.
Teekampagne produces only the finest Darjeeling tea. The plantation, or tea garden as they're called here, is farmed using 100% organic methods. No chemicals are used at all. That's very important for Faltin. The first harvest of the year, known as the first flush, has begun. Only the tender young leaves are picked.
Almost the same, something like 100 grams. Not more.
Faltin came to Darjeeling for the first time 25 years ago. He knows how difficult it is to produce good tea.
You have to pick an awful lot just to make a small amount of tea. That's what makes Darjeeling tea so expensive. But Teekampagne has made it affordable for everyone.
Teekampagne is the name of the company he founded 25 years ago. Today, it's one of the world's leading importers of loose-leaf Darjeeling tea. Faltin receives a particularly warm welcome here. His visit is even being recorded on video. But first, he has to don special clothing, in line with hygiene regulations. For centuries, little has changed in the way the tea is processed. Despite the use of machines, much is still done by hand. Faltin pays the producers over 50% of his final sales price. That's more than other importers. His rivals tried to put him out of business, particularly at the start. But he still managed to bypass all the middlemen.
You can buy in bulk directly in India, but only if you just have one variety. If we had lots of different types of teas, we couldn't do it. But we only have one type, so we can import directly from the plantation to Germany.
In Darjeeling, he's known as the professor, because his main job is teaching at the university in Berlin. All the profits made by Teekampagne are either reinvested in the company or donated to social or environmental projects.
So this is better.
Faltin wants to move to importing exclusively organic tea. This plantation has already moved to organic farming. The owner tells us it's the only way to protect the soil. His harvest has been reduced. He doesn't plant the bushes so close together anymore and mixes them with other plants. But he says the plantation opposite had a landslide after the soil was gradually eroded by continued monoculture. Faltin fears many tea gardens in Darjeeling may be facing a similar fate.
An
economist who thinks long-term has to consider ecological factors. If I only think of the next quarter, like some managers, I get problems. Then business is divorced from ecology.
Günter Faltin is also sponsoring ecological projects in Darjeeling and is engaged in reforestation together with the World Wildlife Fund. Local residents in one area have been trained in how to conserve nature and have now started producing organic honey, which is selling well. It's another initiative that Faltin helped to develop.
It was his vision, I should say, from part of WWF, that he thought beyond the time. Now, if we do not do anything for the nature right now, then after 10 to 20 years, none of the tea will be purchased in the market.
Darjeeling tea destined for export always goes via Calcutta. Under British colonial rule, the city became India's main hub for commerce. Teekampagne's tea is also shipped from here. Faltin imports 400 tons of Darjeeling every year.
And that ends up in something like this.
Yes, that ends up in something like this.
which is more composite to first flush.
Interesting.
Faltin travels regularly and widely, not just in India, but all over the world, reporting on his concept of entrepreneurship. Faltin is convinced that anyone can set up their own business as long as they have a good idea. He says a good idea will allow you to overcome even difficult conditions.